Building a remote team begins quietly, with tools replacing offices and intention replacing walls.
Work is no longer tied to a place, and that freedom changes how companies are born.
Remote teams promise flexibility, speed, and access to global talent.
For founders, the appeal is obvious. Hire the best, regardless of location.
But every advantage comes with trade-offs that only appear over time.
Without an office, culture must be built intentionally, not absorbed passively.
Time zones stretch the workday and test coordination.
Communication becomes the backbone of trust in remote teams.
When messages replace conversations, clarity matters more than ever.
Distance can reduce distractions, but it can also amplify isolation.
Burnout looks different when home and work share the same walls.
Structure replaces supervision in a remote-first environment.
Clear processes become the silent managers of distributed teams.
Autonomy boosts morale, but only when expectations are aligned.
Remote work blurs endings, making boundaries a learned skill.
Freedom in schedule can return time to life, not just work.
Successful teams design rhythms that replace office routines. Engagement must be signaled, not assumed, across screens.
The real challenge is sustainability, not novelty.
Building a remote team means choosing trade-offs and committing to manage them well. Delays in response can quietly slow momentum in distributed teams.
When everyone works differently, alignment becomes fragile.
Misunderstandings cost more when feedback loops are long.
Recorded communication saves time, but removes emotional nuance.
Accountability feels abstract when progress is invisible. Work follows people everywhere when the office is online.
Someone is always offline, and decisions must wait.
Written words carry more weight without tone or context.
Leaders must over-communicate without overwhelming.
Productivity looks different when measured across continents.
Daily rituals blur when work starts before sunrise. Comfort can quietly erode focus over time.
Strategy drifts when teams rarely share the same moment. Remote work offers freedom, but discipline must replace structure.
Constant pings fragment attention across the day.
Loneliness rarely shows up on status updates.
Honest feedback is harder without shared context.
Small gaps compound when no one sees the whole picture.
These struggles force teams to rethink how work truly happens.
Clarity often begins when teams admit what is not working.
Remote success starts with explicit rules, not assumptions.
Focus improves when priorities are made visible. Small environment changes can reset daily energy. Alignment grows when everyone sees the same direction. Time boxing replaces long, unfocused hours. Remote work allows teams to design work around life.
Progress feels real when outcomes are clearly defined.
Weekly rhythms create shared momentum without meetings.
Breaks become intentional, not accidental. Documentation becomes memory for distributed teams.
Fewer meetings create space for deep work.
Autonomy restores energy when paired with trust. Thoughtful updates replace constant interruptions.
Distance from screens helps decisions settle. Clear endings protect long-term focus.
Simple routines anchor remote days.
Celebrating progress maintains morale across distance.
Mindset shifts from control to enablement.
With clarity, remote work becomes a deliberate system, not a compromise.
Execution in remote teams lives in small, repeatable actions.
Shared visibility keeps distributed work moving forward.
Work progresses when priorities are chosen daily. Energy is managed intentionally without office cues.
Movement replaces commutes as a mental reset.
Focus time becomes a protected asset.
Asynchronous updates keep momentum without meetings. Writing clarifies thinking before sharing. Visible progress builds quiet confidence.
Micro breaks prevent fatigue from building unnoticed.
Data replaces presence as a signal of progress.
Separation between work and life is practiced daily.
Execution depends on clear next actions.
Time awareness keeps effort aligned with impact. Days end deliberately to protect tomorrow's energy.
Regular reviews replace hallway check-ins.
Order in space supports clarity in work.
Overlap time is used carefully and intentionally.
Execution feels sustainable when pace is respected. Daily execution turns remote work into reliable progress.
Lessons emerge when teams pause to review what actually happened.
Distance makes patterns easier to miss, but clearer when noticed.
Progress is often quieter than expected in remote work.
Writing helps convert experience into repeatable insight. Culture survives remotely when values are visible and practiced.
Slowing down reveals what speed once hid.
Trade-offs define remote teams more than tools do. Efficiency improves when expectations stay realistic.
Strong onboarding reduces distance before it becomes friction.
Not every problem needs a faster solution.
Patterns matter more than isolated wins or losses.
Perspective widens when teams step outside constant communication.
Transparency strengthens trust when handled with care.
Reflection turns effort into learning.
Lessons shape how the next day begins.
Simplicity often follows hard-earned experience.
Captured decisions prevent repeated mistakes.
Learning accumulates quietly over time.
Remote work reveals what teams truly value.
These lessons define whether distance becomes strength or strain. Reflection shifts focus from daily tasks to long-term direction.
Remote teams succeed when vision extends beyond the next sprint.
Time horizons expand when teams are not bound by offices.
Strategic pauses prevent reactive decisions.
Geography becomes a feature, not a limitation.
Sustainable work respects human pace over constant urgency.
Long-term teams simplify to what truly matters. Leadership shifts from oversight to enablement.
Trust compounds quietly in well-run remote teams.
Resilience grows when teams plan beyond individuals. Clear vision steadies teams through change.
Remote work integrates into life, not against it.
Growth becomes intentional, not accidental.
Space to think. strengthens long-range judgment.
Fewer signals make priorities clearer over time.
Consistency matters more than intensity in the long run.
Looking back reveals how far remote teams can go.
Distance fades when purpose stays clear.
Remote work becomes normal, not exceptional.
In the end, building a remote team is about choosing intention over proximity.